everybody, and you are tuning in to another episode of Loans and Coffee. If you're tuning in for the first time, my name is Janae. I'm your host. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Loans and Coffee, and follow us on the gram at Loans and Coffee. Before we get started, I need my amazing and crazy co-hosts to introduce themselves to the people.
This is Mark.
This is Kayla.
This is Q. Follow me on Instagram at QBird.
This is Sade. You can subscribe to my YouTube at Miss Chaches.
This is Rich.
All right, guys. So before we get started, I want to apologize to all of my subscribers, listeners out there. My goal for the rest of 2021 with this podcast is to really develop consistency and to continue to do this. I took a little break, mainly due to school, work. Life got a little hectic, but I realized that this is really like my safe haven. So I'm grateful. Moving forward from here on out, you will get consistency from your host. All right. So our topic for today is we're going to talk about safe spaces / kind of preparation for adulthood. So I decided to talk about this topic because I recently had a conversation with my cousin, shout out to Mani, and we were kind of just saying how we felt like we didn't really have somebody who was there to tell you, this is what you do for school, this is what you do if you like somebody, or overall, I come, like I stated a million times, I come from a very strict Jamaican household. We don't really communicate a lot, and I feel like the lack of communication in my home made it very difficult and didn't really prepare me. So the first question that I want to ask you guys, pick and choose who wants to talk. Just tell me a little bit about your family dynamic. Like, is it a home where you guys are usually, you talk about like your feelings or like what you're going through? Do you have anybody in your home that you can really kind of express yourself? That's the first question. Whoever would like to go first.
All right.
She was going to go first.
I guess I will go first. My family dynamic isn't really close. I guess you could say that. The only person that I could feel like I can confide in or ask questions or get any type of insight about anything from is my grandmother, and always has been like that. So yeah, that's pretty much how my family dynamic is.
You want me to go?
Go ahead, Mark.
My family dynamic is, I don't know, it was literally just me, my mom, my sister. So I ain't really have nobody to confide in. It was kind of just like be strong because I'm the only dude in the house. So
Okay.
I kind of just like learned everything as I went and just watched them go through situations and just learned off that.
Okay. Who's next?
My family dynamic, so I come from both my parents being in the household and I have a younger brother. And although everyone was in the house together, we didn't really talk.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, we were all just we all were there. We all, got along very well. But we didn't really confide in one another with, any of our issues or, we had anything going on in life. So. Oh, can you not hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like if you're in a household with a bunch of people that it necessarily means that you learn life skills better, you'll learn things better. Because I don't think I really got that.
Right. And that's before we go to the next person, I think that's an important thing because a lot of people do think because you come in from a two-parent household that automatically means that you have the foundation. And sometimes people say all the time, like, my mom was absent or my dad was absent or I still had to basically raise myself. So that's a stereotype that, I'm very grateful that you kind of brought up. Who's next?
I guess I'll go next.
All right, Sade.
Kind of piggybacking off of Kayla. I've also been in a parent household, and I kind of got that same vibe, where even though you have a lot of people in the house, it doesn't mean you always have a lot of people to go to. However, even though my dad was there, I always felt more inclined to go to my mom. So I kind of try to be more open to her because I based it off how my sisters, one of them didn't really come to us in situations. And I saw that hurt my mom, so I kind of tried to be more open towards her.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, I'm also closer to one of my older sisters. So I just kind of confide in them, but sometimes I still don't always feel comfortable.
Okay. Last but not least, Rich Dollars.
Um, it was mainly like me and my mom. My dad was there, but not really. He was military and stuff. But kind of just dealt with situations. Like we kind of talked, but not really. Like I don't know. It was weird.
I feel like we're all kind of saying the same thing in a way. Like kind of different and similar backgrounds, but we all kind of could accept the fact that we didn't really talk to our parents like that.
Right.
Not really.
Music is my outlet.
I agree with that. All right. Next question. So, I would like to know, what is something that you wished your family kind of prepared you for regarding life? I'll give an example. So, I want to say everything, but for me, I want to say mainly college. Like, I didn't really have anybody sit me down and tell me about how you apply for scholarships and, like, you know, financial aid and stuff like that. And I went to school and, like, I can't even discuss the amount of debt I'm in because of school, hence the
How
title.
much debt?
I'm not telling you. Hence the title of the podcast. I really wish somebody did give me that push and, like, explain to me how college works, that I don't have to take out all these fucking loans to pay to go to school. But I didn't have that. And
what was you gonna do?
what you mean?
What could we have
What?
done?
Yeah, other than
No,
take
you're
out-
right, but
I'm
I-
63 in the hole.
I'm a little more than that, baby. Sorry. But that's because I went to school out of state. But even with that, I don't regret it. Like, I'm in debt, but I feel like...
It's okay. We're never going to pay them back. So it's all right.
Period.
Hey,
Okay.
you at 120?
Anyways. Oh, you... So I wish that my family prepared me for, like, college, finances, and I do wish the same thing about, like, relationships and love and stuff like that, because I kind of was basing everything off of what my peers were saying. I didn't have anybody to be like, girl, if that dude is XYZ, or no, you got to do XYZ. There's no rule book to life, and although we're all in our 20s, it would have helped me a lot more if somebody was to sit me down and say, like, hey, I'm older, so I've been through it. This is what I went through. Maybe it can help you. So what do you guys think?
Something else. Okay, so to go along with that, because I actually had a talk recently with my mom about this. I was jokingly I wasn't like throwing her under the bus or anything, but I was jokingly talking to her, like saying like, oh, you know, I wish they would have taught me this, because, you know, you don't learn this kind of stuff in school. Like, this is stuff, like everyday things that you don't learn in school or the area you're supposed to be learning it from. You're supposed to learn from your parents. And she kind of joked me with, like, you know, I didn't have you young or anything, but I'm still human. Like, I'm still learning life myself. So if I didn't teach you anything, it's probably because I didn't think to teach you that. It's not something that I just deliberately didn't do to teach you. I was still learning life myself. I was probably going through something myself, trying to learn things that I was going through. So little things that I learned or had to learn on my own, I kind of just, it skipped over my mind to think that you would need some guidance in that area, because I didn't have that guidance. And so I'm like, okay, thinking like, dang, I feel like an asshole. I'm like, why didn't you teach me about taxes and stuff like that? And the whole time she had to learn it on her own, so she didn't really think to.
I have a question about that, though. So I understand that. I had a conversation with my aunt not too long ago, and she explained, like, hey, maybe your mom can't help you when it comes to relationships and stuff like that because she didn't experience it. And I was like, wow, light bulb. Like, I didn't think about that. But then I come into terms with, like, financial stuff and things that you know. I guess my situation's a little different because my mom just expects us to know. She's like, well, you know, you should know these things. And it's like, I don't. They don't teach you in school. You didn't tell me. So how am I expected to know? And I think the biggest thing that kind of came into play with these things is it made me consider about when I want to have kids and am I ready to have kids, because these are things that you have to kind of be prepared for. You know, it's not just the first year, the first 5 years. You have to consider long term. Q.
I low-key forgot what I was going to say, but
So
okay.
It's always a moment of awkward silence.
I definitely agree with what you guys both were saying. I definitely felt like oftentimes like my mother should have taught me a lot of stuff, but now that I'm older and I've experienced things and I find myself teaching her because nobody ever taught her and she had no idea about the information. So it's like, well, I can't even be mad at her because she didn't know how to do it. So how can I expect her to teach me? And then to kind of like piggyback off what you said, like your parent expects you to know how to do certain things. And working with a lot of my clients in my job, it seems like people think they just really send their kids to school and they teach them everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to know, like, well, what did you guys learn when you were in school? Because that stuff's not being taught, like things like home ec and things like that, who teach you taxes and things like that. Those things are really necessary and needed back in school because most of the day is spent with the teacher anyway. And when you come home, you don't have time to really learn anything from your parent. Your parent is not thinking that they have to teach you anything. So it's like the disconnect, and we're not really benefiting and learning the things that we really need to learn.
I agree. Mark?
So I was just gonna be, I don't know how I sound, but I was just gonna be kind of devil's advocate
Mm-hmm.
because my mom taught me like three things. Am I too close? My mom taught me like three things, and it was basic. What am I?
You're good, bro.
You
You're
need
good.
You need to-
Jeopardy music plays.
All right, bet.
All right.
So
we're
my
back.
mom taught me three things. It was how to conduct myself in like multiple situations. It was about sex, and it was just never let nobody disrespect you. So everything else, I legit just learned myself, and it helped me to become a very observant person. And I learned from everybody in the room in different situations. So it helped like make me more of a more organic individual, I guess, because I got to like put myself in situations and be in situations and just learn off everything.
Right.
So it just helped me develop my personality and myself as the person I am today, which is a very diverse person. You know what I'm saying? Instead of it being like, she told me this is what I'm supposed to do, and I just kind of like followed that. It's kind of like I had to look at something, learn to understand it, and see if this worked. And majority of the time it did, because I think critically and I just attack shit. But that's kind of like,
were you? Because I think, correct me if I'm wrong. Does that also apply to like finances? Does that
finances.
apply for like college? Does it apply for?
Yeah, I did all this shit myself. It's
Okay.
legit like with finances, I just saw how the situations I was in growing up and how I didn't have a lot of money and how to keep a lot of money and stop doing stupid shit with money.
Right.
Because I saw my mom either do stupid stuff with money, or she showed how she wasn't spending money or the places we were shopping at in order to save money.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then like with taxes and everything, like, okay, my mom did taxes, but I always knew the principle of taxes because, I started paying for shit at a young age. Like as soon as I could work,
right.
I started working. And now as I'm starting to pay for shit and I'm looking at receipts, I'm doing all this little shit, I'm noticing like, oh, this money has been taken out. This is what I have to pay the government. And then you like indirectly you learn that shit like in business classes and shit like that. I just paid it hella attention.
I was gonna say I ain't take no business class. So I don't know about that.
No. Like like in simple mathematics where they apply it to like real world shit. You ain't never had like
I'm really good at math.
I'm like algebra.
no like
statistics.
not even
all that stuff.
no even elementary school. So like even elementary school where it had like hold
Beg your
on.
pardon?
Even elementary school, like when you had like word problems and it said he has this so much amount of
Oh,
money.
yeah.
and-
Okay, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It,
If
it
Jerry
makes
has
sense.
two,
Oh yeah, like if my business, if I'm selling something and I charge them taxes, that tax is supposed to pay the government.
Yeah. Basically,
Okay.
like
I thought you was talking
they
about
indirectly
geometry.
teach you that shit.
Yeah.
So I kind of just
No, I need directness.
I kind of
Right.
just like I
Right.
kind of context clues. I'm like, oh, this shit makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, exactly. That's kind of how I always think. So I'm just like, all right, cool. And I just learned shit as I went ahead, and boom. You know what I mean? So I mean, I don't know a lot of shit, but I'm constantly learning.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so yeah, I just not having that direction kind of just allowed me to just develop myself versus going off of what she did, because a lot of stuff she did and what I saw other people do wasn't working from them. They
You
were keeping them
learned.
in the same situation.
Mhm.
Do you think that helped you too, like having like an older sibling or like watching people in your family go through it and you're like, okay, well, I'm not gonna do that.
Right.
My brother,
Just a little bit.
because my brother, he's younger. I'm the oldest in my family, or not in my family, out of my siblings. And my younger brother, he says all the time that he watched me growing up, like through middle school, high school, and saw all the errors that I made, and like did better. If
Right.
that makes sense. And I feel like that kind of goes with it too. Like, okay, if I'm the first child, I'm not gonna say like I'm the error child, but I'm like the trial and error. Like
Yeah,
they
that's
testing the
true.
waters with me. So whatever messed up with me, they know not to do it with him. So like everything that went wrong with me never happened to him.
Mm. Which kind of goes into like what you stated, where your mom said like she was young and she had to learn. So with you, you were kind of a trial and error. She kind of got it,
Basically.
nipped it in the butt, and got it better for your sibling. Sade, were you gonna say something?
Yeah. Oh, wait, reiterate the question just to make sure I get all
So,
the points.
shit. So the question was basically, do you feel like you were prepared, or what is something that you wish your family kind of taught you?
Okay, yeah. So definitely, I can relate to Mark and Kayla because I was the youngest. So I got to watch both my sisters go through whatever the hell they had to go through. I was like, I'm definitely not doing the hell they did. And then my parents, basically, especially financially, just seeing like how when my sister had kids, how they had to like adjust, and I'm just seeing like I can adapt. I'm like, okay, this is what they did. But I feel like I was very observant, and that's how I learned. But if I didn't understand, I made sure to ask
Okay.
because I was just like, I don't want to fuck up. But if there's one thing I wish they could prepare me more for is being ready for failure and also starting over. Because I feel like they did that, but they didn't really talk to me like, oh, yeah, this is where I fucked up at. I don't want you to do it. Like, I tried to see what I could. But it's like my dad, I feel like if anybody had to go through the most change, it was him because he's from D.C. He moved at a young age. He started working when he was like a kid because he was very independent. He did whatever he had to do. He's like, I'll do it myself. So like, but I was closer to my mom. So me and my dad didn't really talk. So I never like really understood like the things he went to. But now that I'm older, I'm talking to him more, and I'm learning more stuff. And I'm like, I wish you would have told me this when I was younger because now I'm out of college and I'm not doing the things I'm doing my degree, and I feel sad because I'm like, I'm fucking up. But he's just like, it's okay to start over. I went through so many jobs. I did all this, had so many different careers. It's gonna happen. You young. I'm
It
like,
felt
well,
good to
where
hear
was
it,
this?
right? But
Yeah.
but you have to look at it like that too, because you're very young, and one of the only things people have told me is you're not tied down. Like
Yeah.
you don't have anything.
But are we really young? I feel like I'm old.
We young.
We got about
25,
at least
24?
60 more years on this planet.
I'm gonna start feeling old at like 27.
I had to realize
Like-
I was young like
Yeah.
recently. Like
I had to keep reminding myself, like, dang, you got a long ass life.
I'll be like kind of looking at like different stuff that other people. I'm like, damn,
Nah,
I
I'm
may
looking
not
like,
need that.
damn, I'm 25 already. Like, this got here kind of quickly, so
Yeah,
I don't
but
got
I-
that much time.
I just hear 25 because I have friends who are like 30 and
Yeah.
27. I'm like, nah, I'm young. Y'all old.
Yeah,
Like,
that's how we
I'm young.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
still,
no,
like,
in that
changing
aspect,
shit
You know,
at
so
their age.
that's what helps. But like when I got my younger friends now, I'm like, damn, they like you 25, grandma. And I'm
Nah.
like, let's do that bad.
No.
So, all right. I guess the next question. Oh, no, okay. I guess the next question that I'm gonna ask is, what is some word of advice that you have for anyone who has no support at home but is trying to find their way?
don't
Q.
don't look at your friends for validation of your own personality.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna say look at your friends for validation, but having friends who are in a stable household and have parents who teach them things, it's good to be around them because you can learn things from them.
Facts.
That's
So-
different.
Because I definitely have friends like that, and like stuff that my mom didn't teach me. Like I'm still learning now. If I go like hang out with my friends and stuff like that, I'm like, dang, like, okay, I'm gonna come over here some more because what
I
else
wanna
can you
learn.
guys teach me? Right.
Yeah, I think that is very important. I didn't look at it like that. I think to like kind of answer both of you guys, I struggled for a little bit about what Mark mentioned about comparing myself, but it was never like it was an age thing that we talked about. Like I'm 25 and I see people doing X, Y, Z. I always think that I could be doing more. Like anybody who knows me knows I'm very hard on myself. So, I had to learn and clap. I don't like that bone in your body where you feel envious or jealous. It's not a good feeling.
Facts.
And it feels so amazing when you're happy. I have friends in here who got their own businesses, YouTube, and doing the damn thing. Clothing line, magazines, stuff like that. And it feels amazing to see it and be happy for it compared to being like, damn, am I going to get my shine? Because I don't look at it like that because I am. And we all are. And it feels really good. So I agree with both sides. Don't compare, but also look towards them and be grateful for it as well. Does anybody else have any advice on word of advice?
I was just gonna say like what you said, like, don't compare yourself, but it's always good to like at least have someone to like kind of look not to really look up to, like try to like be them, but just having like good influences around you, and like if you need help, just ask. Like if especially if something you don't understand, like just me, like when I didn't have no one to teach me finances, so when I went to school, I looked out and got my own mentor to help me in that area. Cause I was like, I'm a first generation, no one can help me,
Right.
but can you help me? And I made sure I gave myself the opportunity instead of like watching myself go down a path when I can avoid it. So if you can avoid it, try to get help when you can. Try to surround yourself by people that you can look forward to or look up to. They'll help you build, that have similar mindsets, but can also expand your mindset at the same time.
Okay. I like that. Rich, what you got to say to the people?
Don't be too hard on yourself. Set goals. Like don't. You could take things day by day, but have a plan and set goals for yourself. Because if you don't do it, ain't nobody else gonna do it. And don't expect people to hold your hand, because you're only getting older.
Yeah, that's true as well.
So even if you had somebody teach you when you was younger or not, don't expect other people to be like, oh, I'm going to help you out. Because 9 times out of 10, they're going to expect you to do it because they did it.
Facts.
Yeah, that's true. I think kind of being transparent and realistic with yourself as well. I've been on like my healing journey, and through that time, I tell people all the time, you kind of realize more and more who is important and like genuine to you. So I think that's the key thing as well, is remembering that if you do have to do it alone, don't give up on yourself either, because a lot of people do get very discouraged when they have to do it by themselves. And I know me personally, like I've had days where I've broke down and I've cried. I'm just like, why does it have to be this hard? And I started to think, like, if I was prepared, I wouldn't be in this position. But I also look at it like this. Me having to do it alone shaped me into who I am. I don't think I would be the same person regardless if I had somebody kind of pushing. I just wish, even along the way, as I'm 25, it still feels good to want to have somebody be like, hey, this is how you do it. Or if you need some help, I'm here to have that. You know, so creating that safe space. Does anybody else have any advice before we wrap up?
I just want to say I had this thought the other day, and I was like, sometimes I just want to like knock everything off the fucking table and just say fuck it, like literally, like metaphorically and literally. But if I do that, who got to pick it up?
You do.
Facts.
Me. So it's just like, yeah, I'm doing it on my own, but I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna take my time, and you know how he said set goals, but instead of setting these massive goals, like get the little goals,
Baby goals, right?
Because they're gonna make that big goal, and it's not gonna happen as fast as I want, but it's gonna happen.
Amen. So. Hallelujah. So that wraps up this episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Again, final notes. All I'm gonna say is don't be hard on yourself. If you have a safe space or you have somebody that you can talk to, somebody, a mentor, a family, a friend, a friend's family, use that and take advantage of it. Thank you.